Please be seated. Well, I can see we have a rowdy crowd today. This is great. And we have a very magical ceremony that we're going to be having up here, so watch out. Hello, everyone. My name is Jay Coogan. I'm president of Minneapolis College of Art and Design, and I want to welcome you to Spring Commencement 2014. I'd like to thank all of our families for giving us the opportunity to work with the great students who are about to graduate today. And I also want to ask you to spend some time looking at the work, if you haven't done it already, that's over in the main building. There's some fabulous work, and if you got a chance to go see the MFA show over at the Northrop King building, also some amazing work there as well. Commencement provides our graduates a brief moment to take a breath and celebrate their accomplishments. Everyone at MCAD hopes you have had a transformative experience, and we couldn't be prouder of the students who will be walking across the stage today. As you stand at this threshold of your future, think a moment. What are your next goals? How will you use your time to achieve those aims as an artist and designer? And where do you want to be in 10 years? And how are you going to get there? Also remember, no matter how much we think ahead, many times things don't go as planned. And I here need to pause for a minute to acknowledge the 40 students in the audience who came to MCAD from the College of Visual Arts to finish their senior year. I know today wasn't the commencement that you were expecting when you enrolled at CVA, but we are thrilled to welcome you into or at least soon welcome you into the community of MCAD alumni, where you'll be part of our family forever. None of the accomplishments you have achieved would have happened without the support of friends and family. People and your relationships will play a huge role in whether you will succeed or fail. If you treat people well, many of them will help you, especially when you can't figure out how to help yourself. And never discount anyone you meet. You never know who might become a friend or lend a hand to you in work and life. And stay in touch with people you know. For instance, keep in touch with your faculty. I am still writing recommendations for former students I had more than 20 years ago. Also, stay close to your MCAD peers and other MCAD alumni. They may become your business or studio partners. They will help you when you need it. They will commiserate with you over setbacks, and they will applaud you in your successes when you have them. And you will have them. But before we move on to awarding diplomas, you need to do something important. That is to say, thank you to some of the people who have helped you get here today. First, I hope you will thank the faculty and staff who did everything they could to give you a rich and rewarding experience at MCAD. And second, you need to thank your family and friends who have stood beside you as you followed your passion for art and design and gained the skills, knowledge, and personal confidence to be ready to begin the next chapter of your creative lives. It is now my pleasure to introduce Vice President of Academic Affairs, Karen Worth, and Board of Trustees Chair, Mary Lazarus, who will assist in awarding diplomas. Thank you.
I would like to introduce Tom DiBiaso, Director of the Master of Fine Arts Program, who will assist in presenting diplomas to our MFA candidates. The candidates for the degree of Master of Fine Arts will please stand. Upon recommendation of the graduate faculty and president of the Minneapolis College of Art and Design, and as approved by the Board of Trustees, I am privileged to present to you the following candidates for the degree of Master of Fine Arts.
The Board of Trustees, by the authority vested in it by the state of Minnesota, and upon recommendation of the graduate faculty and the president of the Minneapolis College of Art and Design, confers a degree of Master of Fine Arts with all the honors, rights, and responsibilities upon these candidates.
Julie Bomer. Allison Louisa Bola. Sean Cairns. Zachary G. Collins. Adam Hamilton. Christina Wang. Ning Kong. Hyun Jacqueline Kim. Trevor Benjamin Knott. Aziza Noor Kasuma. Sing Lee. Wen Liao. Jiwing Lo. Dennis Madamba. Alyssa McCourt. Shrikishan Nair. Desiree New. Eric Sievertson, in absentia. Liwen Tong. Catherine Ann Van Zanti. Duany Wang. Hui-Chen Wu. Xiehua Yang. Xuancheng Zhang. Kelsey Zygmunt. Ladies and gentlemen, please give a warm ovation to MCAD's MFA class of 2014. Upon recommendation of the graduate faculty and president of the Minneapolis College of Art and Design, and as approved by the Board of Trustees, I'm privileged to present to you the following candidates for the degree of Master of Arts.
The Board of Trustees, by the authority vested in it by the state of Minnesota, and upon recommendation of the graduate faculty and the president of the Minneapolis College of Art and Design, confers the degree of Master of Arts with all the honors, rights, and responsibilities upon these candidates.
Sarah Stanke, Sustainable Design, in absentia. Sherry Welsh, Sustainable Design, in absentia. And it is my pleasure to introduce Allison Bola, who will speak on behalf of her graduating class.
Good afternoon, family, friends, honored guests, faculty and staff, and graduates. It is my honor to speak on behalf of the Minneapolis College of Art and Design's Master of Fine Arts class of 2014. We are a collection of artists and designers who have shared in this program unique experiences of time and place. 2 long, long winters. Our studios at Whittier, graduate classes and critiques, the teaching practicum with Linda Monick Eisenberg, our graduate teaching assistantships, hi Rebecca, a few group shows, open studios, mid-program review, and the thesis process. The requirements of this program were the focus of our lives, but life happened too. We made friends. That sounds elementary, but we really did, as Alyssa and Adam will attest. Although sometimes familiarity breeds contempt, like Desiree and Jim, we found family, supportive, loving, and there through long hours of work. We discovered allies and intellectual simpaticos. Thank you, Aziza and Jacqueline, for being my sisters at arms. I would not have made it through this program without you. In our work, as is evident in our thesis exhibition, we treated form as content and content as form, like Tong, Sean, Tiffany. Like Shri, Duoni, and Connie, and Wei Chen, we made beautifully visible the unseen and the unexpected. We explored our disciplines through the prisms of our cultures, like Wen Wen and Sing. And like Dennis, we did it all with songs in our hearts. Which isn't to say it was a lark, hardly. There were times we had to take stands for our work like Katie and Trevor, or balance love of our work with love of family like Zach. As I said, life happened, but we persevered. Christina, your performance was well worth the wait last night. And in the face of overwhelming loss, Julie and Kelsey, you made it, and truly honor your fathers. These people we cherish, these perspectives we've developed, and the character we've shown are a testament to the spirit of MCAD and its MFA program. Without the consistency and reliability of the staff at the Media Center, the Service Bureau, the print shop, or the wood shop, we wouldn't have work, period. Without Lars and the crew at Academic Services, we wouldn't have that awesome thesis show. And without the Learning Center, Amy, the library staff, and Diane, we couldn't have looked as deeply into our practices as we did throughout the thesis process. Indeed, I can't think of one MCAD faculty member that my colleagues or I approached with an idea or a question or a request who didn't meet us with enthusiasm and time. I can't stress it enough. MCAD is a place of true generosity. That is its overwhelming quality. Today, my colleagues and I are happy and whole because of the high expectations and liberal support of our phenomenal graduate program director, Tom DiBiaso, and for always cheering us on and keeping us focused and fed. We are especially thankful to graduate program assistant Kylie Van Noot. This MFA program is mentor-based. Each of us worked one-on-one with a practicing artist who acted as a sounding board, guide, and advocate for our work. My mentor, Catherine, and I joke that ours was a match made in heaven. I'm certain that my colleagues feel the same way, because the call and response between mentor and mentee moved our work from where it was to where it is today, considered, challenging, and compelling. I personally cannot think of an environment for growing and learning that is as encouraging, enthusiastic, or supportive as the MCAD community. Generosity is the overwhelming quality of this place, and you can be assured that along with our work, it is this spirit that we, the MCAD MFA class of 2014, bring to the world. That's it.
Thank you, Allison, for those wonderful remarks. I would like to introduce you to the faculty members who will assist in presenting diplomas. Jerry Allen, Chair of the Bachelor of Science in Advertising Programs. Eric Brandt, Acting Chair of the Design Department. Anita Nash, Acting Chair of the Liberal Arts Department. Howard Quedno, Chair of the Fine Arts Department. And Stevie Rexroth, Chair of the Media Arts Department. The candidates for the degree of Bachelor of Fine Arts will please stand. Upon recommendation of the faculty and president of the Minneapolis College of Art and Design, and as approved by the Board of Trustees, I am privileged to present to you the following candidates for the degree of Bachelor of Fine Arts.
The Board of Trustees, by the authority vested in it by the state of Minnesota, and upon recommendation of the faculty and the president of the Minneapolis College of Art and Design, confers a degree of Bachelor of Fine Arts with all the honors, rights, and responsibilities upon these candidates.
Jeremy M. Anderson, illustration. Kyle Anderson, illustration. Alexandra Ayers, animation. Kathleen J. Berry, comic art. Paul Bieber Tremblay, comic art. Philip Bologna, photography. Jennifer Bowman, illustration. Mandy M. Brazington, comic art. Josh Brink, illustration. Dylan Burns, web and multimedia environments. Maggie Bush, animation. Mia Calderon, illustration. Javier Tavera Castro, photography in absentia. Crystal Chang, illustration. Kimberly Sozinski, photography. Quinn Francis Clark, photography. Catherine Conway, print paper book. Jasmine Dion Creer, graphic design. Hannah Olivia Culbert, illustration. Tyler James Dahl, graphic design. Maria Fernanda Abonoz Diaz, web and multimedia environments. Chelsea Dicken, comic art. James Brooks Dolence, graphic design. Abby Duell, animation. Ariel Elliott, illustration. Anna Laura Juarez Espinoza, print paper book. Miranda Taylor Fessler, animation. Laura Frick, animation. Adam Fuchs, graphic design. Brennan J. Gasser, furniture design. Christopher David Gasser, Fine Arts Studio. They switched them around. Molly Rachel Gates, graphic design. Elizabeth Ann Gline, comic art. Carlin Goldhorn, drawing painting. Alexandra Ann Graham, furniture design. Kara Faye Gregory, print paper book. Antonio Danger Morales Gutierrez Jr., graphic design. Lindsay Adone Ray Hall, illustration. Robert Harmon, graphic design. Rachel Lynn Henn, photography. Katie Hill, drawing painting. Sarah Rose Hill, graphic design. Yin Fan Huang, illustration. Andy Jort, advertising. Jolene Capez, photography. Kyle Kim, graphic design. Joseph Dana Knox Carr, filmmaking. Ian Kolstad, graphic design. Sarah Kapitsky, illustration. Corinne Lanasa, comic art. Jacqueline Lang, photography. Wyatt Lasky, drawing painting. Kathleen Law, drawing painting. Elizabeth Lewis, graphic design. Yazan Lowe, advertising. Aaron Michael Lokes, animation in absentia. Michelle Irene Loma, filmmaking. Hannah Taylor Love, photography. Nicholas D. Phillips Love, illustration. Jacob Daniel Manitz, illustration. Lauren Mannanen, Fine Arts Studio. Maria Manzo, animation. Vincent Joseph Marcinelli, photography. Sophie Matson, furniture design. Joel McKean, comic art in absentia. Kyle Moe, filmmaking. Megan Moffett Finnegan, sculpture. Jennifer L. Moran, graphic design. Camille Fairley Moorhead, graphic design. Vanessa Ray Mullinex, fashion design. Blake Mullen, graphic design. Casey Lynn Nelson, fashion design. Melinda Kim Wee Win, Fine Art Studio. Matthew Donald Novak, drawing painting. Christopher Lewis Olson, comic art. Eddie Perot, illustration. Leanna Perry, graphic design. Kanisha Marie Pouncey, photography. Chelsea Rains Vega, furniture design. Brianna Rinkle, photography. Amanda Ritchie, illustration. Nina Marie Rivera, web and multimedia environments. Bobby Lee Rogers Jr., illustration. Kay Madeline Rossback, web and multimedia environments. Chloe Russell, illustration. Caitlin Santoro, illustration. Aaron James Sather, graphic design. Jacob Aaron Schroeder, drawing painting. Ashley Sywart, drawing painting. Dan Sharon, graphic design. Christina Simon, illustration. Nathan Scogan, graphic design. David Snow, photography in absentia. Grayson Steffel, graphic design. Jennifer Beth Stice, sculpture. Zach Stabner, graphic design. Michelle Stoltz, illustration. Nora Stone, graphic design. Welsa Stone, drawing painting. Jennifer Stum, graphic design. Sherry Teray, illustration. Aaron Temple, animation. Ashley Ann Terpstra, graphic design. Shua Tao, graphic design. Maisie Teese, illustration. Nicholas Thomas, photography. Mamie Thompson, comic art. Jared Tuttle, illustration. Jeffrey Tura, drawing painting. Erica Valdez, comic art. Monica Valdez, comic art. C. Vang, illustration. Matthew Volanek, graphic design. Joni Ann Wachholtz, illustration. Dawson William Peisel Walker, comic art. Patricia Senich Welch, Fine Art Studio. Kyle Werstein, Advertising. Caitlin Rose White, Photography. Arnie Wilkin, Photography. Jamie Willems, Comic Art. Rachel Wingard, Illustration. Tyler Marie Whitlinger, Illustration. Alex Witz, Comic Art. Ashley Lucille Woolery, Animation. Leah Manoloyo Zobat, Illustration. Ladies and gentlemen, please give a warm ovation to MCAD's BFA class of 2014. Will the candidates for the Bachelor of Science degree please stand? Jay?
It'll be fast.
Okay. Upon recommendation of the faculty and president of the Minneapolis College of Art and Design, and as approved by the Board of Trustees, I am privileged to present to you the following candidates for the degree of Bachelor of Science.
The Board of Trustees, by the authority vested in it by the state of Minnesota, and upon recommendation of the faculty and the president of the Minneapolis College of Art and Design, confers a degree of Bachelor of Science with all the honors, rights, and responsibilities upon these candidates.
Jenna Catherine Ballinger, Entrepreneurial Studies. Larry Holderfield, Entrepreneurial Studies. Desiree L. Panic, Entrepreneurial Studies. Make sure she's around. A little lost. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in a warm ovation for the Bachelor of Science class of 2014. It is my pleasure to introduce Antonio Morales, who will speak on behalf of his graduating class.
Greetings. Thank you all for coming. It's a tremendous honor to be in front of all of you here today. Before I begin, I'd like us all to take a collective breath as we reflect on the people that we've met during our time at this institution. All of our families, our close friends, our teachers and our mentors, and the wonderful faculty that contributed to our growth and to our experience. To the people that challenged us and gave us the wisdom to be curious, and to those that dared us to seek something greater, even if we didn't quite know what that was at the time. All of you have helped define what MCAD represents, and I personally hope that this speech can serve as the most genuine act of gratitude to everyone who's helped me get to where I am today. Had it not been for all of you, I might still be some socially inept kid alphabetizing his Pokemon cards by himself in the playground during recess. I still have the cards, but at least now I have the capabilities of achieving something far greater. So here goes. Okay. Accept the obstacles in your life, not as obstructions, but as challenges that can be overcome. Let me emphasize that. Accept the obstacles in your life, not as obstructions, but as challenges that can be overcome. Overcome those same challenges with a sense of innovation in addition to renovation. These past 4 years have undoubtedly contained the most difficult challenges I've ever had to face. I've been through family tragedies, social anxieties, health concerns, and artistic breakthroughs that have all challenged my mentality and my perseverance. And I know I'm not the only one of my peers that had to go through this. The challenges we've faced, the people we've met, even the backgrounds we were raised with have all influenced who we are. And yeah, I know we've all had a different experience here at MCAD, but I know for a fact that we've also had a similar one. Because together we have a foundation, a common ground. We are a community. We are all a part of each other's internal world, part of our inspiration. We truly influence one another. MCAD has given us the opportunity to surround ourselves with creativity, but more importantly, it's given us the curiosity to seek it out. You have all inspired me. A few years ago, I would have never dreamed of being the first one in my family to graduate college. But the decisions I've made in these past 1,000... Thank you. But the decisions I made in these past 1,460 days have directly contributed to the person that stands before all of you here today. I've seen many of you succeed against all odds. I've seen passion in your eyes, and I've witnessed your perseverance. You have all been the driving force that has pushed me to succeed, and our success is measured collectively through all of us. Success is becoming a person your past self would be proud of. And I believe that success to an MCAD student can be summarized by the following statement. Nullius in verba. This Latin phrase roughly translates to take no one's word for it. In other words, challenge the world around you. We stand here today as people who can not only question the external world around them, but also interchange our own internal reality within it. And if you can challenge the world around you the same way that it challenges you, and if you can create something with your most precious gift, then and only then can you call yourself a successful artist. Thank you.
Thank you, Antonio, for those inspiring remarks. There are many ways to measure the quality of a college, certainly by its graduates whom we honor here today. The great work they have done is also a reflection of the standards set by faculty. I would like to acknowledge 3 longstanding faculty members for their collective 103 years of service to MCAD. Yes. Collective. And their commitment to students as they now transition to retirement from the college. Phil Anderson, could you please stand? Professor Phil Anderson began his MCAD employment 35 years ago as a senior lecturer in 1979. His classes are as wide-ranging as the history of jazz, U.S. history, Civil War to the present, and before and after television. In 1993, he had a Fulbright Fellowship to Oslo, Norway. At the same time that he was teaching at MCAD, for many years, Phil was also the film and video critic for City Pages and Minnesota Public Radio. He was instrumental in writing and editing MCAD's accreditation self-study and faculty handbook in service to the college. Associate Professor Mary McDunn is unable to be with us today. She actually started her retirement early. Her car broke down on the way home from a cabin up north. She began as a lecturer 29 years ago. Mary served not only as a professor in liberal arts, but was the director of Learning Center for 9 years, the chair of the liberal arts department for 5 years, and was the co-dean of liberal arts studies. In addition to teaching an array of writing and seminar courses, Mary has an active studio practice in photography centered on the Silent Witness Project for Arts Action Against Domestic Violence. Ruth Voits, could you please stand? Associate Professor Ruth Voits began at MCAD 39 years ago as a visiting artist in 1975. Ruth is a founding member of Digital Watershed, a nonprofit that has received MacArthur funding and is an active scholar in Native American art and culture. Her political and cultural interests are reflected in the range of classes she taught, from ecological anthropology to hawks and hippies. She has been a longstanding member of the Student Appeals Committee, a testament to her commitment to the welfare of MCAD students. Please join me in a warm ovation.
"103 years, wow." Even if it is collective, that's pretty amazing. And believe me, MCAD has felt that dedication of those faculty as we do of all our faculty. People who teach here love this place, and I think all of you who are out in the audience as students really realize that as you go through here. It is now my great pleasure to introduce our commencement speaker, Raymond Thomas Ryback, better known to all as RT. When I first moved here, I met RT at City Hall. He introduced me to the city by saying, "Welcome to the land of 10,000 lakes and 10,000 nonprofits." Clearly, he was proud of the many social service and cultural organizations that were in Minneapolis, but at the same time, I think he was wondering, how am I going to keep them all going? Well, during his 3 consecutive terms as mayor of Minneapolis, he did that. He's a great supporter of nonprofit organizations and causes. He also helped the city lower crime, create jobs, and build affordable housing. He made Minneapolis a national leader in innovative youth development as the founder of the Minneapolis Promise, an innovative cluster of coordinated efforts to get students college and career ready and put them on the path to success. Since 2004, his Step Up program has put 18,000 Minneapolis youth, 86% young people of color, 50% from immigrant families, and 93% living in poverty, to work in meaningful summer employment. The White House recognized his Step Up as a national model for youth summer jobs. RT has been recognized as a national after-school champion by the After School Alliance, not only for his leadership of the Minneapolis Promise, but for founding the Minneapolis Youth Violence Prevention Initiative and for being a champion of youth-led Minneapolis Youth Congress. In 2008, he was a finalist for the World Mayor Award and was elected Vice President for Communications of the National Conference of Democratic Mayors. Since stepping down as mayor, RT has become Executive Director of Generation Next, a partnership of education, community, government, and business leaders whose aim is to close the achievement gap between white and minority students. Please welcome my friend R.T. Ryback, an advocate for the arts, for MCAD, and for young people like yourselves.
Hello. By the way, I hope no one ever gets the stupid idea to put you all in caps and gowns. That looked just awesome. So please stay exactly as you are. You know, I know you're supposed to start these things by talking about this incredible world out there, and it is, and all these amazing places to go, and there are, and how you should go explore them and all of that. But can I make one plea? Can I have you look at all of that and then decide to stay right here in Minneapolis? Please, can I ask you to do that? There are, you know, cities can have too many potholes, and cities can have too many criminals, and this city this year had too many cold days. I get this. But a great city can never, ever, ever have too many artists. You will always have a home in Minneapolis. Stay here. We need you. We need you. Well, it's really, really great to be here, and I've seen your art, I've gotten to know some of you, and I am absolutely certain that I'm looking out at an incredible new generation of artists, not only here, but all over the world. You are going to do incredible things, and I'm incredibly excited about that. But just in case this art gig doesn't work out for maybe one or two of you, let me just put in a pitch for one of you to become an archaeologist. In fact, I'm so interested in at least one of you doing that, though I'll give you a little hint about something pretty incredible that's buried right near here. To find it, just go up to 26th Street and just start walking. Go to the freeway, go onto the bridge, and look down. And right in the northbound lane, as you're heading toward downtown, right under the bridge, about 20 feet below that is something pretty amazing. It is one of the great American soda fountains. Down deep below that are these incredible old milkshake makers. You may have seen them on TV, and these glass tulip glasses. And you may have seen the pictures of the pedestal seats. They're round tin things that swirl around. All of it is an incredible soda fountain. And I happen to know that it's down there because it all came from Ryback Drug, my parents' drugstore. My parents had a corner drugstore on what was then 26th and 4th Avenue. It's gone now, of course, for the freeway. It's in the middle of that northbound lane. But I know it's there because when we had to close the store for the freeway, they just took a big bulldozer and buried it all beneath the freeway. Nobody put much value on that back then. And so I know that it's there. We lost a drugstore. But something else was lost when that happened. And it says a little bit of something about why we need you as artists today. My father was a white pharmacist. He depended on two African-American doctors, Dr. Johnson and Dr. Brown, to bring their prescriptions to his store. That's how they were a success. And he wasn't alone, because as you go up and down where the freeway used to be, there was a neighborhood unlike really any other in the city of Minneapolis, a city that too often has had people find their own place and segregate off from each other. In that area, you had the one part of Minneapolis where African Americans and white people together came and actually did business together. They were dependent on each other. They worked together. They needed each other. And together they created something that neither of them could create alone. Well, the freeway ended all of that and made it possible to just speed out into the suburbs, into what became the great suburbanization of America. The corner drugstore, of course, died. It was replaced with some real sameness and some big box chains. You look around at an incredible neighborhood like this, and people still obviously lived here, but it was really nowhere nearly as interesting to people who went off to suburban subdivisions. They took that incredible, remarkable Minnesota landscape, they paved it over, and then they created lawns. And remember those lawns? Every single blade of grass looked exactly the same, turning in exactly the same direction. And it wasn't just physically what happened. The food in that period of time came more and more from a box or from a big producer, and it began to taste all the same. We took the entire American culture and we put it in a blender, and it came out with an incredibly bland puree. It all was the same. Well, something happened, and it may have happened on those lawns. It may have been that after all those years of trying to kill those weeds, people began to look at those weeds and recognize there was something kind of wonderful about them. Well, they were actually not a weed, they were part of the great American native prairie, and if you let it grow, it became more beautiful and different and diverse than it could ever have been if we imagined it as a lawn. And it didn't stop there. Almost overnight, the country changed, and we went through something where what we heard and what we saw and what we tasted no longer had to be exactly the same. Music evolved. We used to have top 40, then we had indie, and the local food movement, which my wife and I are certainly a huge part of, began to awaken our taste buds again. And wasn't it wonderful that it came from a farm where we actually knew the farmer better than we knew our doctor? And mercifully, and this is something that I care a lot about, and I hope some of you students do too, beer. If you think about it, the corporatization of beer took place, but that went away and local breweries came in, and now every single bar was lightened up with a hoppy uniqueness of the local beer scene. One thing after another changed so that we no longer all wanted to be the same. And right here in Minneapolis, something really wonderful happened at the exact same time. Wave after wave of immigrant came, just as we were beginning to awaken to a new liveliness and culture and grit of a new type of America, a new type of Minneapolis. Our city's complexion quite literally changed dramatically. And so the streets of our town, you could see people from Tibet and from Laos and from Cambodia and from Somalia and from Colombia and Mexico and all over the world. And there's nowhere where you can see that better than if you go in the other direction, just 3 blocks to Nicollet Avenue, of course. And there you see a street that I remember growing up as being a pretty bland street. But today, one restaurant at a time, you see exactly what it means to be a city that values people who are different, who are unique, who come from all over the world to build a great city. You know, artists as well have played an enormous role in this, and you can go block by block in this city and see that artists have moved, as this has happened, into every different part of our city and helped us reimagine places in a way that we've never seen it before. If you stop and think about all of this, you recognize that in the first half of my life, I saw television go from black and white to color, and in the first part of your life, you saw every part of the American culture go from black and white to color. You are going into the world at the height of the great American reawakening. It's an incredible time to go out into the world. The artist, you're the ultimate definer of culture, has a very special role in these times. We are no longer asking you to hold up a mirror and reflect back who we are. We're asking you now to hold up a prism, to refract the light of all of these different colors that we're showing to you and create something far more interesting than any one of us could have created on our own. It's very easy to define a culture when you have a common culture where everyone finds the common ground because they're already standing on it. It's far different, and it's far more complex, and it is far more compelling for you to be able to look out at a world with so many different people and so many different views and so many different backgrounds and try through your art to help us find a common ground. So we ask you as artists at this magical time, we ask you with insight and with sometimes a touch of irony, and we ask you with a tremendous sense of common purpose, paint us in color. Thank you. You guys are going to do a great job.
Well, I know RT has stepped out of politics for a while, but I think he's needed again. So the next time he decides to run for election, I think he's got a house full of votes here, or at least I hope so. At this point, we're going to present an Alumni Achievement Award, and to present that award, I'd like to invite Boriana Strozek, President of the Alumni Board of Directors, to the stage, who will present the award. Boriana.
Before I give the award, I would like to welcome all of the graduates to our rich, diverse, very successful alumni community. On behalf of the Alumni Association Board of Directors, it is my pleasure to present this year's MCAT Alumni Achievement Award. This honor is presented to an MCAT alum distinguished in his or her field who has made a lasting and significant contribution to the world of art and design. MCAT is known for its innovative spirit and its ability to transform the communities around it, and this year's recipient of the Alumni Achievement Award certainly exemplifies these values. I'm pleased to present this year's Alumni Achievement Award to Catherine Apple, class of 1992. Catherine is an editor at Sony Pictures Imageworks and has been the lead animator on major films such as Chicken Little, Hotel Transylvania, and Romeo and Juliet. Currently, she is the editor for Hotel Transylvania 2, to be released in 2015. Catherine received BFA in Film and Photography from MCAT and her MFA in Film from California Institute of Arts. For her work as an animator, editor, MCAT advocate, and friend, I'm honored to recognize Catherine today on behalf of the alumni community with this Alumni Achievement Award.
Thank you very much. I'm very honored to receive this, and I'm very also glad that I came to school here. When I was going to school here, I never thought I would be an animation editor. I was taking all these art classes, and I thought I was going to be a documentary filmmaker. But through education, you learn so many different things. I had to take animation, I had to take sound classes, a lot of film classes, and I found myself in a situation where I was doing an apprenticeship in editing for animation, and just thought I would try it and ended up loving it. But I was able to use every skill that I got from MCAD. So I guess, as all of you going out to the new future, but be open to what brings you, what life brings you, what your education brings you, because you might end up doing something totally different than you thought you would. And I'm very happy with what I'm doing, so I hope best luck for all of you.
This year, 6 Ethel Morrison Vanderlip Awards will be given to graduating students who have exhibited outstanding creative ability. The pool of applicants includes December 2013 graduates. In 1923, with income from an endowment fund established by Ethel Morris and Vanderlip, MCAD established the Ethel Morris Vanderlip Scholarship. This award was to be given to students who completed their formal training and displayed high personal character, diligence, and application in work, and artistic ability of exceptional promise. An award of $2,500 will be given to 2 undergraduates from design, 1 undergraduate from fine art, media arts, and the Bachelor of Science advertising program each, 1 from the MFA program and 1 from the MA program. It is our hope that the recipients of these awards will use the scholarships for travel and study that will benefit their professional careers. The task of selecting the students to receive awards from such a strong and distinctive class of artists and designers was difficult. Among the criteria considered were originality of ideas, imaginative problem solving, and skillful execution. This year's recipient of the Ethel Morris Vanderlip Award in the MFA program is Adam Hamilton. Will you please come forward? This year's recipient of the Ethel Morris Vanderlip Award in the MA program is Cheryl Welsh in absentia. This year's recipient of the Ethel Morris Vanderlip Award in Fine Arts is Melinda Wynn. Please come forward. This year's recipient of the Ethel Morris Vanderlip Award in Media Arts is Xavier Tavera in absentia. This year's first recipient of the Ethel Morris Vanderlip Award in Design is Blake Mullen. Will you please come forward? This year's second recipient of the Ethel Morris Vanderlip Award in Design is Antonio Morales. Please come forward. Congratulations.
Thank you.
And finally, this year's recipient of the Ethel Morris Vanderlip Award in Bachelor of Science in Advertising is Jonathan Rodriguez. Please come forward. Ah. Would you please join me in recognizing these artists and designers?
Congratulations to all the Ethel Morrison Vanderlip Award recipients. I'd like to take just a second to thank Mary Lazarus. This is Mary's last year on the board. She's been on the board for 10 years and been chair for 2 years. She's been a faithful commencement assistant or whatever, but she's been the most faithful board chair, coming up here and making these awards and helping our students to graduate. And I think of her as a hugely helpful personal friend to the president of the college, that being me, and but also to the health and well-being of the college through all her work she does as a board member and has done as a board chair. So thank you, Mary, for all those years. So thank you, everyone, for attending today. I want to invite you all to the commencement exhibition and reception in the main building. I also want to remind you that animation and film screenings will take place in Auditorium 150 at 5:30. And I would request that everybody remain in their places until all the stage party and graduates have left the theater, and then you can follow them out to the main building. So, ladies and gentlemen, it is my pleasure to present you MCAD's graduating class of 2014. Let's all give them an applause.